Hello and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today's Friday, July 3rd, 2020, and today's topic is called Sky Fun, Colors, and Orbs, and it's the collection of images and sky observations taken July 1st and 2nd. And before we get going, I'd like to go through the greeting page and say, good day, osio, how, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, dzień dobry, konnichiwa, dobrovonia, annyeonghaseyo, boa tarde, dobry den, aloha winala, kalimera. And today we're going to include a new one, a new greeting, so a little tribute and shout out to the Netherlands, Flanders, and surrounds. Thank you to a recent viewer who brought this to my attention. We're going to include, and I hope I say it correctly for you, Goedendag. So here we go with the first slide. It's going to show, we're going to cover like a few of the gray and cloudy stuff before we get to the really bright and nice colors. But anyway, here we go. So there's a really odd storm forming just suddenly. Seemed to kind of just break out from the west, and this really feels like artificial substance in here, and I'll touch on that more later. But what I find really striking is that even though the sun that's happening in the west that's starting to set, there was nothing pure bright white about it, and yet we have this one white speck. So what is that? What could it be? You know, I zoomed in and changed the contrast and other things just to try to pull out a little form of that thing. But it didn't seem to be, you know, like smoky, but at the same time, what is that? So I'm just going to leave it there because I don't know what it is. Maybe you have some thoughts, and if you do on any of these slides, kindly leave me some comments in the section below. Alright, so here's that cloud coming from the west, and right in the middle of it I noticed a triangular shape. And again, if you've looked at any of my previous shows, I do cover how to really get good at spotting a ton of geometries that are happening in the sky lately. Some seem to be really dark, some might be the void shape with clouds around it, but there's quite an uptick in that I've been seeing triangles, you know, triangular shapes, hexagonal, pentagonal, a lot of shapes that really don't have a clear explanation of why they're there. So have a look at some of those other shows, see what I'm talking about, and come up with some of your own conclusions. And definitely, please go out every single day, 5 or 10 minutes a day, look up, and just stay there, you know, for a while looking around, and I'm sure you're going to notice something very interesting in the skies wherever you are. You know, as long as you're not in a huge city, you know, where you can actually see the sky is what I'm talking about. But anyway, here's another odd cloud forms and white object. I was just looking at the strange character of this, you know, instant storm, and it was really low. You know, you can see the tree lines here and a roof line really broke out pretty low. Sunset starting to happen beyond, you know, these clouds too. But anyway, I looked at the edges and I noticed, what the heck is this? So it wasn't raining when I took the photo, so that's not water on the lens or anything. And as you can see, there's even a cloud in front of it, so that's not the case. And then the more I looked, and when putting these slides together, I'm like, what is going on here? I mean, those even look like craters, very moon-like. So I'm not sure what that is. Is it an actual object? Is it something just ethereal, interdimensional, supernatural? I'm open to talking about what this could be. Whatever it is, it was just hanging out there. So I zoomed in and enhanced the photo, and I really couldn't get much more detail out of it. But let me know what you think in the comment section below if you have any good ideas of what that could be. Alright, now this is just noting again, you know, this storm activity breaking out, but look at this. This is an almond-shaped form. I did run the enhanced contrast and changing the brightness and colors and stuff. Nothing much more than what you see here was yielding, so I'm just leaving you here to kind of take a look at this. But what's interesting is it seems to be some like weird tufts of smoke or cloud or vapor or plasma, which usually accompanies some of these geometries that are becoming so prevalent in the skies these days. But anyway, I'm going to leave this one to you, see what you think. It kind of looks like a face maybe, or maybe you find something else, you know, in there as you're looking. Okay, now we get to the bright colors. So we jump from the cloudiness to all of a sudden, as the sun started going down, things really started igniting in the sky. So I'm looking at this intense orange, and then the very cloud itself here, all of these cloud forms were cyan. So this wasn't an effect, maybe something's projecting on them, but the smoke itself, even in here, is cyan. So the light isn't even coming from the sun there, and yet it's cyan. So something just ignited this entire, or is just created, to make this entire cloud form itself electric cyan. Then as you start looking, you start to see like weird little shapes here. That's in white. That might be a shadow triangle beyond. You start to see this could be like a pentagonal shape or part of a bigger triangle or little triangles. There's just so much going on in here right now. There's a triangle here. So again, I invite you to look at some of my other shows, which kind of walks you through on how to see some shapes in the sky if you don't already know how to do that on your own, or how, if it never occurred to you. That's a little guide. So here again, we're zooming in on this photo because there's a bright white point. And again, nothing actually by laws of light physics can be causing that. The sun is off to the left of this photo, so to the west or northwest actually. So there's no like little beam streaking through just to highlight that pinpoint. So I zoomed in and tried to, bring out what that might be. I didn't really get much. This is just a plane from the lower left-hand corner of the slide. So we go to the next one to try to, went to a different frame of a different photo, and there it is again. And this time when I zoomed in, we get geometry. So for now, hold on one second, excuse me. Okay, I'm back, sorry. So we do get geometry. I'm just showing a circle for now because in some of the photos it appears on the zoom in that it's circular. However, I also see facets, which could be more octagonal. So this thing could be morphing, or it could be one or the other, I'm not sure. Either way, I don't know what that is and why it's sitting there, but it clearly has structure and shape, and it was in a few photos. So if anyone has ideas of what that is, kindly let me know. Okay, now here's just a side-by-side, and again there's our little object, our little orb friend in there. Side-by-side, just so that you can see what I see. So when I talk about seeing triangles in the sky, I see a clear one here. Some are smoky, and then some are created by the void. So here you go, it's like a void, a darker void, and others have different characters too. So I just kind of highlighted the obvious ones, but again, if you take this photo on your own and study it a little bit, I'm sure you'll find even more shapes all over the place. Okay, now in this set of photos, we're looking more to the northwest, but here you have like an oblique diamond shape. This looks like this could be a triangular shadow back here. This is an upside down triangle as well. So again, this is another one of those photos I'm going to leave you with to find other shapes here, on your own. But again, I'm just noting how electric this cyan. This is looking toward the east, where it should not be bright blue like this. At this time of the evening, things should already start to be calming down and being darker blue and grayish, and yet it was electric, so it's very obvious. Okay, and here we go again, just catching more of it, looking straight up this time. The intense color here and the cyan nature of these clouds, which actually were much more vibrant than what my camera phone is showing you here. Okay, and here's that sunset that's responsible for those electric colors, in part anyway. So it started off kind of muddy, and then boom, it starts intensifying out of nowhere. Now beyond, you'll see these fraying and this column like rising straight up, or at least on an angle too. Looks like there could be an object in here. To me, that's all artificially induced. I talk about cloud seeding. I talk about various ways that different clouds are artificially created, and I do believe because of the consistent nature and the very odd character of these things that keep coming, that they are artificially created. Now, it could also be that our magnetosphere that envelops the Earth and protects it from cosmic stuff is thinning, and somehow our atmosphere is changing. But this is so specific and coming out of the west, or southwest even, and coming out in a cone and puddling over and always obscuring the sunset wherever it is. So that leads me to believe that it's artificial. But anyway, develop your own thoughts and perspectives on it as well. And again, I welcome input if anyone has any other ideas to get a nice little discussion going. But otherwise, could be a lot going on in there. And to get this kind of intensity and the way these little things, kind of are forming, it looks like there's some type of plasma or some type of chemical in there that is somehow responsible for igniting such bright color. Anyway, see what you think about it. So here we go, we keep traveling along with our little sunset, and then always it's obscured somehow, and then it fades out to pink, going from this to reddish to pink, and then, just dies out. Okay, here's just a standalone photo. I'm just calling it molten gold at sunset because it really was spectacular. Okay, and this one I'm just saying find the triangular shapes. I'm going to leave this up to you to do that. It's an orange, pink, and red, beautiful thing happening at sunset. Again, the sunset's happening off to the left of the photo. I'll just pick out one here. This is a void, but definitely, a triangular shape. And have fun, and I'll cheat a little. I'll show you one more. But there's a bunch more shapes in this one, so have fun finding them if you care to. Okay, now this is just a frozen frame of a video I took. There was a ton of lightning that started to happen. It was not heat lightning, and nor was it regular lightning that I know from living in this area, coming to and from it for decades. But it was just very odd lightning, and this whole system was going crazy with a light show of some sort and no thunder. And I see a lot of people reporting that from all over the world that that's happening more and more. So again, what the cause of it is, I don't know, but I just caught this one little moment to share with you, a little crescent happening there. Okay, now this is just for fun as far as cloud play and something just to wonder at the strangeness of it all with the rain. So this I'm just calling a winged sky lion. You can see, hopefully you can see it anyway. It's like the profile of a lion's face, that's roaring, and maybe the feet, and maybe these are like wings. And then over here, I just thought this was really too darn odd not to capture and share with you. So we have a little, darker cloud dumping, rain, but it's like bending, and it wasn't windy that day. And then over here we have like a cup holder shaped thing, like a cup, and we have a little puff of a cloud dumping rain into it, but it doesn't really seem to carry, outside of the shape. So that was really odd. So if anyone knows what that is or has some pretty wild imagination type things to share in the comment section just for fun, go ahead. But how do we get the rain is dumping in there and it's not coming out of here? It's just really odd. Alright, here's a different sunset. The previous one was on July 1st, this one's on July 2nd. And this one was not as spectacular in terms of ramping up to electric colors. It was a little more subdued, felt much more artificial. Again, this felt more like a cloud seeding effect, maybe with sulfur dioxide or something else, because it was very turning yellow and brownish, even a little bit greenish. We still get this weird effect, like what is that sitting in there? Is that plasma or some other type of gas? I'm not sure, that catches the light much more intense. And if so, what's causing that? Who or what is dropping all of that into the atmosphere? I don't know. Again, if it's not a natural phenomenon that the magnetosphere is weakening or something and we're getting different kinds of, I don't know what, different type of atmosphere happening, I'm not sure. But again, do research that on your own. Just noting what I see each week. And, here we get a little bit of the reddish pink color, and then it ultimately fades back out white again. And this you'll see in some of my other shows. I just like to document these sunset sequences. They seem to all have a similar pattern where they start off white or blinding white from the sun, and then they go really golden, yellow, orange, then go into red, and then pink, and then back to white again. Okay, and here's just more continuation, and you can see that little weird yellow, greenish even color happening there, and everything starts to fade out. And then here's this weird smudge. Now, that's been happening a lot lately. Again, it's kind of like there's some weird either fuzzy objects happening even though everything else is in focus, or there's effects happening where you see an object and it looks like somebody put a piece of scotch tape over your lens, like a translucent scotch tape. It's just really odd what's going on in the skies lately. So get out there yourself if you're not already, any time of day, and just really start observing, and maybe you'll see some really interesting stuff wherever you are. Okay, now I'd like to extend a very, very big thank you to a very kind Lavender Sky Panther viewer who sent in this photo. It's looking west, and it's just capturing again on that July 2nd sunset, gorgeous orange peach gold at sunset from this vantage point looking west. So again, thank you for this beautiful photo to share with us. Alright, now I like to close on a note of nature, so it's either maybe an animal or a plant. In this case, we're going to look up to the skies. So the next couple of slides, we're going to look at Jupiter and the moon surface. So here we go. We're lucky enough to have a rare clear sky where I started to notice this really bright object in the southeast, and I'm in the northern hemisphere. And so I took out the 21 times magnification binoculars and was even able to see some kind of like sparkles happening off to the lower left corner. And when I brought out the reflector telescope at 45 times magnification, it was clear. Okay, these are the moons of Jupiter. So there we go. This is a side-by-side because this photo didn't capture the upper moon. This one did, but this one didn't have the other moons. So there you go. It's a combo. But on this view, we have the different moons. So we've got Ganymede, Europa, and Callisto. And up here we have Io. So it's very interesting. So looking through the telescope, I could see the stripes and everything. We're just at the very baby steps of getting into, astronomy and looking at things. So we need much more equipment, which we'll get our hands on. And I say we have a nice assistant who helps me with the telescope out there. But anyway, for now, this is just hand holding an iPad, passing it over the eyepiece of the telescope, putting it on video mode, and then taking still frames from that. So what we could see in the telescope was a little bit more than what you're going to see here, but I'm just showing you the very amateur version for anybody else who's just getting started looking through telescopes or binoculars up at objects in the sky. This is one way to do it until you get other equipment. So we're going to get just something that can hold the camera fixed instead of hand holding, and eventually we'll get maybe filters so that the surface of the moon and the objects aren't so blinding, but little by little. Okay, so here we go, some views of the moon now, the surface, and these are zoomed in at 675 times, and again using a very crude but somewhat effective method of holding the iPad up over the reflector telescope eyepiece. So I'll let you look at this on your own time. It's just showing various sections of the moon. It's not the moon in its totality, just certain areas zoomed in a lot. Alright, so I want to say thank you for hanging around here a while. This is a photo of the week. It's the vintage Carousel that was in northern Florida. Now I think it got relocated somewhere to the west coast of Florida, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere central Florida, I'm not sure. But anyway, it was beautiful, and I just thought it was worth, sharing it with you. So we have the weekend. Maybe you're already deep into it or just beginning, wherever you are in the world, daytime or evening. Hope you're having a great time already. Hope all is going fantastically for you and everybody that you know and love, wherever you are. And just take care. Send you tremendous love and best wishes. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.